Hey folks, all doing? Here of none here with your Mundus Minute on April 15th, 2022. ESO news, luxury merchant, and golden merchant stuff, all in a few minutes. First up, in the luxury merchant and golden merchant, because we're going to have to go over a lot of stuff tonight, especially with the announcement of High Isle. So, taking a look at the luxury merchant this week, we have Allied Braziers, pillars, sconces, switches, which you can activate and inactivate, but they don't really tie to anything, and Kulda stones. Very similar to the quest that you had here, puzzle up in Cold Harbor, where you had to let out a certain individual from a little trap involving some of these here. I won't give any spoilers, but interesting. So if you like to have an alien look to your house, you might want to pick one of these up. Now, on the Golden Merchant this week, for 150k, you can get the Smuggler's Necklace, which on its 5-piece, when you drink a potion, you get Major Expedition for 30 seconds, increase your movement speed by 30%. Not the greatest out there, in my opinion. I would definitely not spend gold on that for the gold version. You could also, for 150k, you can pick up the Witchman's Necklace. This adds, when you use an ultimate ability, heal for 52 health and 51 stamina and magicka per point of ultimate cost. Probably useful on the Nightblade or something else that has a high ultimate generation. It can just spam ultimates back and forth. For 250k, you can get Iron Blood necklace, which when you take damage, you have a 10% chance to turn your blood to pure iron for 10 seconds, reducing damage you take by 30%, but your movement speed is reduced by 50%. This effect can occur once every 15 seconds. Probably useful more in PvP. And notice that it's not giving you like major protection or minor protection. You can still use those on top of this, but do you really need that much protection? I don't know. Might be a little bit overkill. Also, if you wanted to pick, if you don't have Bloodroot Forge, you might want to pick this up, but if you do, it's a pretty easy pickup as well. Then Necklace of Sheer Venom, which comes out of Imperial City Prison. When you deal damage with an execute ability, you infect an enemy with 4008 poison damage over 6 seconds and deal up to 100% more damage to enemies under 100% health. The effect can occur once every 6 seconds per target and scales off your higher weapon or spell damage. So basically it's a 4,000 poison damage dot, and it goes up to 8,000 if they're below 100% health. Interesting. I'd probably say this might be more useful PvP for a proc set that somebody might not have. Then for 100k, Mask of Mighty Chuda's Mask. If you don't have Ruins of Mazatoon, maybe you want to pick this up. This is a useful set for certain PvP builds where you want to keep up major resolve at all times, or even some PvE builds, tanks do still use this at time to time, but most experienced are going to be using something else. And then Engine Guardian's Mask. This one gives you a Dwemer Automaton, 25% chance, that will restore either your stamina, magicka, or health. Some tanks like this, some healers like this, some PvPers like this. So you might want to pick this up if you just don't want to run that dungeon, but it's a pretty easy dungeon. Do you really want to spend the 100k for it? It'd be up to you, I guess. Now, let us get into the news. It's a little weird for me going backwards tonight, and I may make mistakes, but I'm not going to edit it tonight. So, first up. So, you have a pre-play weekend for ESO now until Tuesday, April 26th. Actually, I shouldn't say weekend. It's more of a week here during the spring break season. But now until the 26th, you have a friend you want to bring on. They can get on PC, Mac, Xbox, or PlayStation consoles. And if they choose to buy it after the free play weekend, they can purchase and start right back off of where they left off. The Race Against Time to High Isles prologue quests are up and running now. So if you want to take a look at the High Isle prologue, it's open to everyone. And you can take a look and see it in your Crown Store. The High Isle chapter preview reveal was done last week, and I'll be going into that in just a minute here. But they went over a lot of the new things coming up, including the new Tales of Tribute, returning fan favorite characters, new factions to discover, locations to explore, and so much more. And also, they have an update for the combat changes coming up with update 34 with High Isle as well. A lot more hybridization overall. So, let us talk a little bit about High Isle and my impressions of it, because I did get a chance, and I do thank DOS for doing so, but I did get a chance to take a look at the preview server, got to play a little Tales of Tribute, and overall, got to toy around with it. Now, keep in mind, what I looked at was an early build, and they gave us some B-roll footage to roll out and discuss some of this here. So, first off, I'd like to say I have a list of items that I'm interested here in. And there's a new areas to explore. So we get High Isle itself, which is about the size of Morrowind or bigger. We get 2 new companions, which one is actually Khajiit this time. They are fully voiced. I noticed some peculiarities compared to other Khajiits, which you might notice as well. There is a new story, and it doesn't involve the end of the world, which it might sound boring, but there's stuff in there that I'm interested in, and it's, like I said, it's not another Daedric invasion. It's not another everything's going to end if you don't get this. But there is still intrigue. There is still interest to get into this. There is a new trial to work on for progressions, and it does look interesting. I think I'd like this about, from what I've seen on it, I think I would say a little bit better than Kaijages, but we'll have to see. There's the new Tales of Tribute card game, and there are new sets to use, including new mythics, and you might see some of these things going around here. Now, I don't know if the numbers that we saw on this preview server are going to be live on PTS, and I don't even know if these are going to be over on the main game. Some of them might look broken at first, but then you'd probably have to play and see. And again, most of the stuff will be play tested and changed around. I don't think there's going to be anything game breaking here. I would say this is above Blackwood at this point here. Blackwood, we had an inclusion of the new companion system, and in this one, we're getting basically Blackwood plus Tales of Tribute. I know a lot of people have issues with Tales of Tribute, given the fact that it's been a long time since we've seen any updates to PvP, and we've always been expecting like a new system, a new class, a new race, or something like that with each one of these chapters. This is kind of more holding pattern to me. This is something where we're getting along and take a look at another story of the Elder Scrolls Online, and we're getting new areas to explore. I do think it's going to be worthwhile to get it. Compared to Blackwood, like I said, we're getting all that stuff, and we're also getting the card game on top of itself. The card game, I've heard a lot of people have complaints, worries that it's going to be another pay to win thing, which is always coming up with any of these new chapters. Like, we have to get this because it's going to change the face of PvP or PvE, or it's going to have some component to the Crown Store that's going to make it a pay to win, etc. Honestly, it's not going to do almost any of that. The card game is interesting the way it handles it. So each person brings a deck to the table. You combine those 2 decks, and then you play it. It's not like Gwent or Elder Scrolls Legends, where you have your deck and it's so overpowered that it's beating out anyone else that hasn't actually played any of these. But it is interesting enough to say that we have, if you go ahead and you explore the world, find something that you have enjoyed and a deck that you like, you can include it. And if it comes up in your deck, you can include it as well. The other team may not know what it is or understand how it works, so you can yoink it and basically use your skill. Now, if you're going to be if you're going to really be a tryhard and try to understand every single card in the game, it won't matter what deck really the other person is bringing, because you should actually know the counters to it and know what to pull and what to deny the other players. The system is not as flashy as other card games, though, which is probably one of the bigger issues there. If you took a look at the preview, which I'll link down below, it does not have like spells flying back and forth there, graphics popping out at you like it had with Elder Scrolls Legends or Hearthstone or a lot of those other card games out there. The system seems to be a bit like I equivalent actually to chess and Texas Hold'em, where you have to get through your hand in a lot amount of time. You have to pull from the center whatever is there to pull into your deck, so it has that strategy element to it. But you have your deck and you have what's out in there in the pool to pull into your side here. You can either choose to win a prestige, which basically you have to get 40 prestige, which how do you get prestige? Well, you grow power every turn there, and if there's no agents on the board, that power goes into prestige. Think of it like, you know, that's like a major hit or major HP point. If you go ahead and get your patrons, which are basically the people who are looking at you and only favoring you, you win the game automatically. Which, when you can only turn one patron per turn, kind of hard to do. I think, what else was it with that system there? Oh, there is PvP to it and PvE. The PvE has various experts that you can follow and play against. And the PvP, they do have a rank system to it and a casual play system to it. I feel it's a little... We'll have to see how the rank system goes. I feel like we've been asking for rank systems for Battlegrounds for a while now. Things like seasons and ways to get up, they're going to have that inside this game. And I feel like almost like it's a way to kind of test that before they introduce it into Battlegrounds. Keep in mind, PvP is going through an overhaul this year. It's not getting any updates until they fix a lot of the performance issues that a lot of players are going to be complaining about. That, of course, means that we're not getting any new maps, not getting any new modes or systems, all that. I don't know how I feel about that entirely. I am looking forward to when we actually have PvP updates again, but I do agree I want to see the performance improve a lot more before we have like another slew of battleground maps, a new area like Cyrodiil or Imperial City, all that. This is kind of a maintenance year, it feels like. We're getting a new chapter, we're getting more companions, we're moving along with ESO and enjoying a new trial. We're having new dungeons to explore, and I do think it is worthwhile to get High Isle. Am I upset there's no new classes? Yes and no, because if they're going to add in something like they did with Greymoor, with the whole mythic system and the leads and how kind of game-breaking or not game-breaking, but game-changing that is, where you have to invest into some of these to be able to be competitive, I do want to make sure they do it right and they have the performance there to handle it. I don't want to see a new class that's going to be like the new flavor of the week here and have like 500 necromancers invading Cyrodiil and everyone else is just kind of like, my DK can't do anything against these guys. I just guess they're going to pack up because I can't afford the Neo DLC. I don't want any of that. I'm happy though that they are adding more on. I'm happy with the card game as it is, and I'm looking forward to hopefully some PvP updates here in the end of the year. Anyway, I'm Hero None, Mundus Minute, and kind of my review of High Isle. JL and Tamriel.